On the world news tonight, first the headlines. 43% of Nigerian kids in child labor, says FG. Senators demand apology from Oshiomhole over comments. Call your supporters to order. INEC charges parties in Bayelsa, Imo, Kogi. Drama as DSS Prison Services tussles over Emefiele's custody. On sports, 2023 CAF Awards to hold December 11th. I am Morire Rabina Lawal. The news shortly. The federal government says 43% of Nigerian children between the ages of 5 and 11 actively participate in economic activities. Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Labour and Employment, Daju Kachalum, said this in Abuja yesterday when she led a road walk to the National Human Rights Commission's headquarters. She noted that the child labour violates children's right to education, health, mental and moral growth. She cited the 2016 and 2017 MICS survey stating that 39% of children engage in child labour work in such dangerous industries as artisanal mining, granite quarrying, commercial sex exploitation and armed conflicts. She said the government was committed to global fight against child labour.
Hardships of labour, particularly in impoverished and developing nations. Since June 12 carries a national outlook in Nigeria, a new date was fixed to mark the day. Authorities at the Federal Ministry of Labour and Employment took the lead in a road walk through the streets of Abuja to commemorate this year's World Day Against Child Labour.
We talk about education, because if you do not educate the girl child especially, you have issues. And it is, as we all know in Africa, it's the woman who makes the home. And we're actually calling on all state governments, federal, local governments, let their child go to school.
For the ILO and the National
Senators who served in the 9th National Assembly have demanded an apology from their colleague, Senator Adams Oshiomhole, over allegations that they looted items from their offices. Information report that Oshiomhole, who spoke on television program on Sunday, said that he and most of the federal lawmakers in the 10th National Assembly had to use their personal money to put their offices in shape because the former lawmakers had left them in shambles. He had said that television sets, carpets and chairs had been looted and the walls of the offices had been damaged. Oshiomhole APC Edo North said, in spite of the presence of security men and women, television sets, carpets and chairs were looted by the immediate past senators and House of Representatives members. However, Senator Adeola Solomon APC Ogun West, who served in the 9th Assembly, said that Oshiomhole's comments were an embarrassment to the lawmakers and that his privilege had been abused. In Tuesday's plenary, the lawmakers said there was no way a senator or their aides could take a pin out of the National Assembly without being accounted for, and that the items removed from the offices had been checked and legally passed. Solomon said he was demanding an apology from Oshiomhole or that he may be made to face the Ethics and Privilege Committee. Ahead of the November 11 governorship elections in Bayelsa, Imo and Kogi, states the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) has expressed grave concern about the increasing cases of pre-election violence by political parties, urging them to call their supporters to order. INEC Chairman Professor Mahmoud Yakubu gave the charge on Tuesday in Abuja at its election quarterly review meeting with political parties. He said, as we review the general election, we also need to focus our attention on the forthcoming by-elections and 3 off-cycle governorship elections in Bayelsa, Imo and Kogi states. For the Commission, we are looking at some of the lessons learned from the general election to improve our performance in the forthcoming elections. At the same time, I must also acknowledge the perennial complaint from some political parties that the power of incumbency is used in some states to restrain some parties and candidates from access to public facilities. For media, this often leads to the mutual destruction of advertising materials such as billboards, resulting in altercation and violence involving supporters of opposing political parties. Also, the Inter-Party Advisory Council (IPAC) has advised the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal (PEPT) not to be swayed by emotions or technicalities but to base its judgment on well-reasoned interpretation of the law. IPAC Chairman Engineer Yabagi Yusuf Sani gave the charge in his remarks at the meeting. A mild drama played out at the Federal High Court, Lagos, between operatives of the Department of State Services and officials of the Nigeria Correctional Service as they tussled over who keeps custody of the suspended Central Bank of Nigeria Governor, Godwin Emefiele. Emefiele was arraigned by the Federal Ministry of Justice for illegal possession of firearms and ammunition, but was granted bail in the sum of 20 million naira with one surety following his not guilty plea. As the defendant lawyer were trying to perfect his bail conditions, a mild drama played out within the court premises between DSS operatives who are fully hooded and NCS over who will take custody of the embattled CBN boss. Two Hilux vehicles belonging to the two government agencies were positioned near the entrance of the court. The prison service also brought dogs into the court premises. Sources said that there are moves by the DSS operatives to rearrest Emefiele, despite the bail granted to him by the court.
Today, Emefiele has had his day in court. He was arraigned today, this morning, and he has been granted bail graciously by his lordship. They arraigned him on a 2-count charge, very ridiculous charge, bordering on illegal possession of firearm. Gentlemen of the press, if you know the firearm that we are talking about, it is the kind of gun that the likes of Christopher Columbus and Mungo Park used during their days. This is the kind of gun that the SSS exhibited in their proof of evidence. This is how low that organization has turned itself to be. Ladies and gentlemen, but the good news is that Godwin Emefiele has been granted bail by the court on very liberal terms. Very liberal terms, and as we speak today, he's about to perfect the bail conditions. But we are hearing from the grapevine, and this is the reason why we have come to address you, members of the press, because we know what you stand for. The DSA, in fact, let me also add that the court gave an order again to say that Emefiele should be remanded pending when he perfects his bail, should be remanded in the prison, correctional center. But this one would have expected that having had that order of court, the DSS would vacate this place with immediate effect. But as you can see behind me, they are there, they are hooded. I do not know why they will be hooded to intimidate Nigerians. We refuse to be intimidated. Gentlemen of the press, this is why you are here. Ours is to talk. Our voices can no longer be the low cry in the wilderness. There comes a time in life when
the president of the National Industrial Court, Abuja, Justice Benedict Ken Yip, has dismissed a suit filed by the Academic Staff Union of Universities ASU, challenging the registration of the Congress of University Academics, CONUA, and the Nigeria Association of Medical and Dental Academics, NAMDA, as trade unions by the federal government. Delivering judgment on Tuesday, Justice Ken Yip held that Section 27 of the Trade Union Act allows for more than one trade union in employment. He held that the section does not depict trade monopoly. The court held that the then Minister of Labour, Chris Ngige, and the Registrar of Trade Union had the right to register NAMDA and CONUA to coexist with ASU. The court further held that ASU did not present any evidence before it to show the complete registration of CONUA and NAMDA when it filed the suits. The court held the evidence presented by ASU were hearsay evidence because when the suit was filed on October 26, 2022, while CONUA and NAMDA registration had not yet been gazetted in line with Section 523 of the Trade Union Act, the court further held that ASU also committed an error by filing against NAMDA as the National Association of Medical and Dental Academics instead of the Nigeria Association of Medical and Dental Academics, a mere misnomer to a description in a suit that appears only when a person has a jurisdictional name or is in existence. Justice Ken Yip further held that NAMDA was not in existence at the time ASU filed the suit. All relief sought by ASU were refused and the suits accordingly dismissed. 2 lanes of Bende Road Junction in Umuahia were blocked on Tuesday morning as members of staff of Umuahia North LGA of the state staged a protest over alleged non-payment of their salaries. This is even as the state government has advised the LG staff to approach their respective banks to access their money. The aggrieved staff who barricaded the Bende Road Tower Junction during the protest alleged that they had not received their 3-month salaries, which according to them had left them in hunger and financial distress. They appealed to the Abia state government to pay them their salaries, while also declaring that they are not ghost workers. The workers who locked the main gate of the local government secretariat vowed not to reopen it until senior staff of the state government came to address them. They further said they were also ready to present themselves for biometric or physical verification to confirm that they were genuine workers. The Umuahia North LGA workers denied evading the verification exercise. They, however, advised the state government to sanction any treasurer or senior official who refused to make their payroll available to the state government. A detachment of police officers who arrived at the scene to calm down the protesters did not achieve any results. Reacting to the protest, the chief press secretary to Governor Alex Oti, Mr. Kezie Uko, said the LGA staff should not protest as their June salaries had been lodged with their respective banks. The CPS made it clear that the state government had already paid local government salary funds into the banks for their onward withdrawal, suggesting that the protesting staff may be having some unresolved issues with their banks. He pointed out that the protests may have been staged against some senior staff of the local government and not the Governor Oti's government. Their June salary had been lodged in their banks. Let them go to their banks and resolve any issue they have with their banks. All I am telling you is that your June salary is ready. Several people reportedly lost their lives during the clash between farmers and herdsmen in Isonu, Yaba East local government area of Kogi. Reported reliably gathered that on Tuesday that the community has been tense since last week Friday after a farmer was ambushed and killed by the herdsmen. The man, according to sources, was working on his farmland when a header moved his cows into his farmland. After destroying the farmland, the farmer was said to have arrested one of the cows and went to the police station to report. The source narrated that a man was asked to go and bring the cow, and on his way, some Fulani men ambushed him and his brother, who fortunately escaped, to inform the members of the community. In a statement issued on Tuesday, he said he felt relieved after about 4 days of sleepless nights of the hard work to calm down the situation to restore peace in the kingdom as Oba, your leader as a protector of our beloved kingdom. This is coming from the king of the community. Suspected ritualists have reportedly killed and dismembered the body of a 32-year-old woman on her birthday, identified as Dorcas Shangev, in the Adam village near the welfare quarters or area of Makurdi, the Benue state capital. It was gathered that the deceased went missing after a week ago until a dismembered body was found dumped at Adam village after her body parts were removed by her motherers. A family source of the deceased will relate the events leading to her disappearance and death disclosed that the incident was already generating controversies as her family had started questioning the manner her remains were recovered and buried by the authorities. According to the family source, we gathered that on Friday, July 14, 2023, Dorcas escorted a friend of ours to the burial of her brother-in-law. They returned back to Makurdi on Saturday after the burial. When they returned, she didn't go back home, but slept at a friend's house around the modern market area. The next day, Sunday, July 16, 2023, was her birthday, 32nd birthday. She left her friend's house with a promise to call her friend by 3 p.m. so that they can sit out. However, when she didn't call back as arranged, the friend called to find out why she hadn't called, but she didn't pick her calls. The friend kept calling the whole of Sunday and continued till Monday, but she still didn't pick the phone. While in a state of shock, she called her husband to the scene, and husband in turn called the police and to discover that her eye, ear, tongue, and breast, among body parts, were removed and taken away by whoever may have perpetrated the acts. If you're just joining, you are watching the world news from BGI TV Current. Next is a foreign story. Chinese Foreign Minister King Kang was removed from office on Tuesday, state media reported, after not being seen in the public eye for a month. Chinese top legislature voted to appoint Wang Yin as a foreign minister as it convened a session on Tuesday. State media outlet Xinhua said King Guang was removed from the post of foreign minister. The report did not give a reason for King's removal, but said President Xi Jinping signed a presidential order to enact the decision. King had been seen as a confidant of Xi, and many analysts attributed his recent fast rise through the diplomatic ranks to their relationship. China has remained tight-lipped for weeks after and about the fate of King, who has not been seen in public since June 25th when he met Russia's deputy foreign minister Andrei Rudenko in Beijing. His absence sparked a storm of speculation that he had been removed from office or was subject to an official investigation. Finally, sports. Confederation of African Football (CAF) has announced that it will hold its 2023 awards on December 11th in Morocco. The continental football body made this known in a statement released on Tuesday. The prestigious CAF award will make a welcome return on 11th December 2023 in Morocco to celebrate the stars of African football, CAF said. After last year's successful event hosted in Moroccan capital of Rabat, which saw Senegal inspirational forward Sadio Mane and Nigeria and Barcelona top striker Azizat Oshoala claims honors, the CAF award will feature some of Africa's best stars. CAF will communicate time and host city in due course. The award will recognize the standout performers from club and country over the past year, with the highlight being the crowning of the CAF African Player of the Year in both the men's and women's category. Mane and Oshoala will face stiff competition from some of the continent's brightest stars who have shown in the last 12 months. With the sports story, we've come to the end of today's world news. Before we go, some headlines. 43% of Nigerian kids in child labor, says FG. Senators demand apology from Oshiomhole over comments. Call your supporters to order. INEC charges political parties in Bayelsa, Imo and Kogi. On sports, 2023 CAF Awards to all December 11th. For more update of our broadcast on YouTube, our handle is BGI TV Current. Kindly subscribe and click on the notification bell. Select option all to access all of our broadcasts. On Facebook, Bagede Imo with Alawi Adebayo. Please like and follow the page. I am Morire Rabila Lawan. Good evening.